Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. Um, I'm Pat Skeets, and I started the website meandmycricket.com. So on my website you'll find all of my pages with design space links so that you can copy them, because I use a lot of Cricut images, and so you can just copy everything that I do easily if you like the pages. Anyway, today I'm doing an album share of a road trip we took. I'm a Canadian, and we went to the capital, Ottawa, for a trip. And so this is, I've divided this Ottawa album in 2 videos. So this is the first of 2 that I'll be making of this trip. Okay. So here we are at Ottawa, and downtown there's a big Ottawa sign. That seems, every city seems to do that for a photo op. And so we're sitting on the chairs in front of the title there. And since it's our capital, this is the Parliament buildings. And that's the Peace Tower of the Parliament building. It has a clock on it. It's quite similar to the British Parliament buildings. So anyway, so here they're just sitting out around here, and this is actually at Byward Market probably. So I decided to use cityscape borders. I'm loving them. There's quite a few, and there's for many different cities, but they can also be for just anything. I don't know what city this is of. So anyway, but it works on the page. I had some Canadian papers, so this was the place to use it. Some maple leaves, so I did 3 borders, and in between there's these mosaic. They look like mosaic tiles, or fancy tiles anyway. So just borders along the middle and then borders along the bottom. I did do wider mats on this so that it looks like a frame to give the photo more pop. And then I used my Cricut for the Canada logo, home, you know, that sort of thing. Anyway, that's the start of it. And now, this is Notre Dame Cathedral. There's one in France, of course, but the French settlers, I guess, when they came to Canada, when they built it up, there's a Notre Dame in Ottawa, and there's also one in Montreal. They bring everything from their home, I guess. They wanted to remember home. Okay, so I cut, this is a floral paper, and I just trimmed it, fussy cut it along here for borders on each side. Looks pretty. This is such a dark blue, the sky there, and this was silver, so it looks like gray on here, so that's why the blue, gray, and white. This is an image of, I guess, it could be any church. It's not Notre Dame, so it could be any church. This is Notre Dame, I think. And then I created this. It probably isn't. It's probably just a church. And then a cross, and then I put the title. I grouped them together, and then I did an offset on this so that it created a title. Now these are just stamps, stickers that I lifted for travel images. These are from a die that I have. I used them as a background for this cathedral. And then I did a cluster over here with, used some diamond gems on this. So another travel page. I should save myself a little work here. Now this is the Parliament buildings, and of course they were being renovated. That's the first time I've seen them where there's cranes all over. They're working on them. So this is the famous Peace Tower and our famous Parliament buildings. There's a wrought iron fence all in front of it. It used to be more open, but then I think after the protests with the truckers and that, they blocked it off, so you can't get as close. You used to be able to stand right out in front. And they do the changing of the guard there, just like they do in England at Buckingham Palace. Anyway, I found a wonderful image of the Parliament buildings. So that was fun to do. I just used a geometric shape from the shapes in Cricut Access when you have access. There's free ones. And that's one of those. This is just a shape I put for the background, and I trimmed it with a border punch. Added a border here so it would have more of an outline. And then this is I think they're Echo Park chipboard, a banner, and I put the letters on here I created a cluster here with the title and added a border at the bottom. Put some cars here because we were driving around the city, just doing a tour on our own. Made my title and made a little cluster on the title. So I couldn't do the maple leaf flag there. It's a beautiful city. We went in May because it's the Tulip Festival in Ottawa. Excuse me. And this, I should give you a bit of a history on that. The country, the Netherlands, used to be Holland. Canadians freed that country in the war. At the end of the war, it was Canadian troops that were there freeing them, and so they were so grateful that they sent 100,000 tulip bulbs to Canada, to Ottawa. And every year they send, I think it's, I don't know how many thousand. So the city of Ottawa is so full of tulips everywhere in the spring. They have a wonderful tulip festival, and the tulips are gorgeous, and they're everywhere. So it's worth going to Ottawa in the spring, in May. You have to check on the calendar to see when their tulip festival is. It's really pretty. Okay, so this is City Hall right here for the city, and the Maple Leaf Cauldron is there. So this is they do light it from time to time for special occasions. I'm not sure. I guess it was done for an Olympics, but I don't know when. So anyway, I put sorry, the image of a building here, and then this is the Senate building. We did take a hop-on, hop-off bus tour. So that's how I learned what all these buildings are. So in the background, I used another shape from Access and put a nice maple leaf on it. And this is like a senator, you know, someone. I just used a man's image for that. And then here's some sculptures out front. I decorated this page with maple leaves because of this cauldron. So my titles are there. I used some Canadian papers. Created some 4 clusters. I guess that it sort of makes a triangle. Not really, right? They make rules for me to break them. Okay, now this is the Prime Minister's office. It's in a building near the Parliament buildings. It's just down the street. Now, so this is the National Holocaust Monument, the Canadian Museum of History, and the National War Monument. Actually, the King was there yesterday doing, laying a wreath there with the Prime Minister. So on this page, it had pretty colors in these banners that were out for spring. So I used a pretty floral paper and then cut these clusters and this wreath out of from Cricut with my Cricut, and then raised them, added dots, enamel dots to the middle, and it just sort of this has just one big sheet in the middle, and then it goes out from there the same, the blues, the greens, the reds, and the floral in the middle. So it made for a nice backdrop for this for these photos. Simple, easy pages for traveling. So we don't have too many triangular buildings in Canada. There's not a lot of them. There's one in Toronto, I know, the Flatiron Building they call it, and I saw this one in Ottawa, and it's called the Chambers Building. I had to look that up. So I love them, and I was just in Europe, and there's so many of them there. So it's a rarity and a treat to have them here. So I actually found a Cricut image of an angled triangular building. So I used it. I was delighted to find that. So these are just different buildings and statues and different shots, the banners that were hanging around the city. I wanted, all these photos of buildings were a bit, I thought, if I'm doing a whole bunch of buildings in the city, I wanted to make it pop more. I didn't want it to be so boring. So I have this pad of really funky papers. So I decided to use a lot of them for the building pages to just make them come alive, because just cement buildings are not fun to scrapbook. So I made it fun with the funky papers. Fun for me anyway. I found other just images of buildings that I used on here. Cut this paper into a border here, and then one square I cut, swung it open, just cut it at a diagonal, that square, and it made an arrow here. That's just a simple background, but it was great. Made my title. I like to find a bold font to use, and then I changed the letter spacing and push the letters closer together until they're touching. Then I weld them, and then they cut as one word. They don't always cut as totally one word, but it's a lot easier than placing every single letter. Like this, the C was separate, but all the rest of it was one word. Here the I didn't join, and the N and the G, but it works. It saves me some work, so that's why I like doing it. So I just used some stamp images there, and I have some Canadian ephemera, a maple leaf punch, so I just did that to make a few clusters. Love that funky paper. And this is the Confederation Building. It is right near the Parliament buildings. Oh, I was going to swap this photo out because it's better than this one that I used. I found this better one. So I better do that, right? There, much nicer angle. There's a different view of it. Okay, so this paper has a long border along the bottom. So I found this flower that looked like these. So I just did a great big one in the middle. And then with my pen, I did orange dots in there just to make it pop a bit. And these clusters had the same kind of flower, daisies, I guess. So I put that one in each corner to make it balance and made about a 4-inch border at the top. I just added some enamel dots around, big ones, and then did my title here with a script, a font that's a script. Added a Canada Goose, a couple of them. So there's my Confederation page. A lot of these buildings they're very old, and they have copper on them that has turned green. So that's why there's so many green roofs on these buildings. All right, so here, this also is a border print on this page, so that was printed on it. And so this is a coordinate from the same pad. And so is this paper that I used for a frame. And then I had this border from Creative Memories that's buses. And we did the hop on, hop off, I told you, so I thought that was perfect. I cut it in half. And I used half up here and half down there. And then there's so much wrought iron fencing in the city. You can see a bit of it there and there. They used a lot of wrought iron in the old days, so I had this wrought iron fence border. So I put it back here, and this black just makes things pop a bit more because of the border. So that's why I used the black flowers. I had this Creative Memories, again, embellishments in this grouping. It was perfect for this page. So I just put another bus here, an arrow. It just all makes things pop. So cluster, 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 and 2 borders. And we have a fun page. Love it. I like the architecture of old buildings. I really don't care for modern architecture at all. I like the detail in the old stuff. The craftsmanship. Okay, now this is the Peace Tower. Now that's the clock tower there from the Parliament buildings, and it's the worst photo of all. But I couldn't get up close because it was all blocked off. Anyway, more of the Parliament buildings or other ones around. So I did find a tower, a clock tower image. And there's another one. So this is just a wavy border I cut with my wavy trimmer with 2 different papers and mounted them on black. Used this pretty paper and in a box here and back on. Repeated it on this side. Just some tags hanging down there. And I made an 8-inch square and turned it. They fit perfectly on a 12 by 12. So I just matted 2 different papers that coordinated. Added some embellishments here. And then this is a laser cut photo frame from Creative Memories that I use. I love their laser cut borders and page. They have page formats so that you just put your photos in place. They're beautiful. Here I added a frame behind the tower right here. It's pretty. I like layered things. So I used some postage stamps here from a collection. They have a postage stamp border punch, and these all fit in it, but I used them without the border punch. Anyway, I'm having fun with these. Okay, this is a very somber page. The colors. This is the Supreme Court. for Canada. And so here I found this multicolored print, a coordinating blue, and then a coordinating brown print. So I just did this in the middle, repeated the blue, and then the brown top and bottom. This coordinates with this. So these are geometric shapes from the shapes in Access, and those are triangles, and I just layered them and spun them. Then I grouped them and did an offset for the grouping. So that's just using some shapes. So there are not very many images for courts. I mean, I did Washington, D.C., and I used these same images for the Supreme Court there, because I couldn't find anything new for that. So just again, I grouped my letters and I shadowed them, offset them twice, and lifted all these embellishments. This collection looks like the tiles, sort of, that this paper is kind of like. So I used that grouping for this page. And now this is just the post office. Love these sculptures out front, the lions, and very European looking, or British. And this is a monument, a statue of Queen Elizabeth II. That is right outside Rideau Hall, where the Governor General lives. And that's where they have many formals and where we host heads of state. There is the Canadian Mint. So this was fun to do. I just, because we have gold and silver coins, the loonie and the toonie, we call them the $1 and $2 coins. We got rid of our paper money, the small, the $1 and $2 bills years ago. And because it had a loon, it just got nicknamed the loonie, and it stuck. And then when this $2 one came out, it doesn't have a loon on it, but it just got called the toonie, and that stuck. So this is copies of the coins. They had them in Design Space. So they're quite pretty, actually. Anyway, I found this gold paper with black. It looks quite nice because of this wrought iron. High fences around the mint. And then I used border punch on each side of this. I used that postage stamp border punch there and here, so they join up to the middle. And then just a long tag for each of these to sit on. I loved it. And then my big mint title. That was cute. Fun page to do. Love that loonie. Isn't that pretty? Great image. There you can see the toonie, Canadian toonie as well. I know most people watched are American, so you should go to Ottawa. It's a lovely, beautiful city, and it's parts of it are quite old, so it's like being in Europe. And there's a lot of French flair to it as well. Okay, so this is just statues and art. There's, like DC, there's a lot of, it's a beautiful city. There's a lot of artwork and that in Ottawa as well. So this is Sir Galahad. I think this, the story behind this is this man jumped in the river to save a woman who was drowning. And they did it was a big news story, and so they did a sculpture of him. And now this one is the Aboriginal War Veterans Memorial. This one is the War of 1812. Look how they dress wearing rifles. They're all dressed up with top hats. Silly. And this is the angels. There's 3 angels up high on this sculpture. So I did an angel image for that. Just a statue image here. And the title is Art. Did just a paper down the middle, a wide border across the bottom, and I used a border punch top and bottom for that. This tag goes underneath and across the top for title, and then I repeated that in a smaller size, a couple of them up there, repeating this paper and this paper on top of this beautiful print. Love those papers. And now this is a funny building. This is the National Gallery of Canada. It's a huge art gallery. And out front, there's a giant spider sculpture. It is, well, you can see the people underneath it. It's gigantic. It's hilarious. So I just did a giant spider on the page. It gave me a fun theme. And I used photo camera paper, camera border punch, flipped it for this side. Just did a piece of paper here that's an arrow going up and one going down on this side. It balanced it all by reversing. I guess it would be like this. You could also do a page like that. So I just flipped it. And I quite like that. Love the spider. It was fun. So I used the flowers in the same color scheme as this multicolored paper. The stripes coordinate with it perfectly. That's probably Echo Park paper. And this is just scenes from just different beautiful park. There's lots of park and green spaces. There's some tulips there. There's just some pretty pictures that I had. There's so much. I love wrought iron and the fences everywhere. Posts, cement posts, and carved and detailed. There were some soldiers on guard there. I'm not sure where that was. Anyway, so I just did this parks and greenery and that. So maybe they're on the way to see some embassy buildings because all the embassies are in an area. So I did trees, and then this is just landscape scenery paper. Trees and more scenery paper. And then I did the scenery paper at the bottom. And some trees, the sign Ottawa, picture perfect. I don't know, just pretty, adding trees. Simply wonderful. I loved it. It was spring, everything. I love the color of the greenery in the spring. It's so fresh. So that's the end of this one. Please subscribe below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and get your Design Space links on my website. The link is posted below. Thanks for watching, and happy scrapping.